connection now. When it was Canal Coffee Connection, you remember years ago? Well, that was, you remember when that was a place called Arnie's Restaurant? 1970s, early 70s, mid 70s, the full part of 70s, I think 74 to 76.
If somebody can.
What
do I need to do?
Make sure you sort of, the first step, first step.
Chatter.
Don't say.
You can hear all the chatter.
And that was my first job. Cutting, that yard was so big. When you're a little kid, the grass is always yard. And I had to go and talk to cleaners.
Yeah, you still have 5 minutes.
And then we ate Long John every night. But then he decided he would open to my place. So,
4 minutes. Done.
Arnie's. You want to have some restaurant? Yeah. It was a burger pit.
Okay.
Only the Arnie burger,
Great.
his own special sauce and everything. Kind of remind me of Dallas on coming from America with Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Fun. I'm not like, we don't miss sausages. There's those seeds. in those.
They've got the Big Mac. We've got the
We
Big
got Big
Mac.
Mac, yeah, Big Mac.
Yeah.
But I'd sent that, I see all this stuff out, and he's putting all that stuff in. The only burger. Little story about burger shops. You pay attention if you're going to fast food restaurants. And Well. Down by the river. There's got fish. It's a big old cart. We have. We're gonna take. We're riding to town with my bicycle. With a cart tied to my handlebars. Still on.
So well, it should be a little
So
bit.
we got the burger shop. Beside. Some water. Go to Richmond, get some.
Definitely. Keep it on, 'cause then
Yeah, I was gonna say, find the Turner offer.
So getting a burger shop, and just hide the water.
Can you see it?
So we let the water run, we're peeling over the fish and everything, and then we left with the fish. And burger shop. The story I feel free to share now.
It's chaos, right? And they just keep adding to it and deleting it, and more. It's great. I like it.
Nobody cares.
It makes me happy. That's all. You guys got quiet. We still have 2 minutes. You guys can keep chatting.
Makes it a little awkward.
Yeah, it makes it real weird. Really all get quiet.
Just a group of people staring at a group of people.
Since this last round.
You know what's happening. You just hear it.
Heard there was a party tonight. Heard there was a party tonight.
We have one more tonight yet,
Yeah, me too.
around the rain.
It's nice.
More than they expected.
That's definitely not, well, it could have been my beard hair, but Becky. Clean out my truck. It's just more beard hair than dog hair.
All right, if everyone would stand for the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we thank you for granting us the privilege to meet tonight. We ask for your blessing, wisdom, and guidance as we conduct the business of the village. Amen.
All right, roll call.
Fisher,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Co,
Here.
Maple,
Here.
Mauer,
Yes.
Yoho.
Yes.
All right. So we have a number of people here to discuss the park and also our .gov applications. So if the community would like to speak first. Tabitha?
Well, I was.
You were two. You were second. I mean, Joe was here first. Joe, do you want to go first?
Absolutely.
Okay. Come on down.
That's wrong price, right?
Hey, can you hand Frank
Oh,
sign in sheet, make him sign his name and
he just walked in.
he has to pay for dinner now?
I do. Evening, my name's Joe Scott, and just, hi, how are you? Good, I hope you're all doing good this evening. When I found out about the park in here, and it was voted down, I was very disappointed in that. Years ago, and Christie will attest to this, that we were involved with Rotary Club down there, building the dugouts, and we had visions for that park. Had visions that families could bring their kids there, and visions of just a massive improvement on this. Well, guess what? We're there. There's no reason why something like this should be taken away from our community, especially if it's not going to raise property taxes. What else are the kids going to be? Where are they going to go? Look what Coshocton is doing. Coshocton is putting they've got the grants in down there. A lot of people bragged about the roundabout, which I don't care one way or the other about that. The walking path, the improvements that they are trying to do to their city, why can we not do it to our village? And I think it's a very important step to improve our community here, especially for the kids. If you're not thinking about what is good for our children, then you should not be on the council. That's all I have to say.
Thank
Thank
Mr.
you.
Scott.
Thank you.
Tabby, you're up.
Here we go. I am Tabitha Patterson. I am currently the president.
Hey, if you guys can keep it down in the back, because we want to make sure, we want to make sure everybody can hear the audio.
I am the current president of Ridgewood Rec. I have been involved as a board member for about 7 years in the rec. I've been involved as a coach for this is year number 15. I am not originally from this area. I chose to come here and raise my family here. I no longer live in the village limits, but everything I do is inside of West Lafayette. I've been very involved in a lot of things in the community, and I feel very strongly about doing anything we can to improve facilities for our future. And I just wanted to kind of come and be available to answer any questions as far as the Ridgewood Rec portion of this project, and anything that you guys may have.
Anybody have any questions for Tabitha? How much money is the field projected to cost?
We're looking at about $50,000, but some of that will be covered by labor donation.
And you've already,
We have 4 businesses and people right now that have already pledged their time and equipment to come and do it.
so heavy equipment, dirt moving,
Mhm.
leveling the fields, moving things from that Ridgewood Local Schools donated to
Yes.
the soccer field and the baseball / softball field,
Yeah, they brought 15 loads of dirt over.
and some crushed brick.
Right, some crushed brick. We have already some of the funding for the field, like pledged for specific pieces. We also fundraised all of last year, and we just started our fundraisers for this year. We are confident by the end of this season, we will actually
have the majority of the funds on our own, but wanted to kind of work with the RWL and the village to apply for these funds, because if we can get that matching dollars, then we're able to improve the concession stand, add the additional bathrooms, and kind of make that just an overall better space.
So you're gonna take your fundraising efforts and potentially double or triple them by using them as match for the
Yes.
rest of the program.
Yes, and we also, last year and this year, for all of our board members and all of our coaches, signed volunteer hour forms.
Which took forever.
We have a lot of people doing a lot of things.
Yeah.
And we were able to kind of offer that up to the village also as manpower hours and volunteer hours that you guys could use as match for anything.
And anytime you guys grade your field or mow over there, that counts. So it's contributions to our parks.
Yes.
So,
This year we have 342 kids registered, ages 5 to 14. On average, over the last 5 years, we're averaging 315 kids per year. With the improvements that the high school has done, we don't have access to any of those fields. So we are sharing 3 fields for 340 kids this year.
Or
That
we
is-
really want kids playing on.
Practices, yeah,
It moves
practices,
too
home
fast.
games.
and how many home games were there for Pony?
We hosted over 200 games.
No, Pony League last year. How
Not
many?
0. But we hosted, Ridgewood Rec hosted, and for all of our age groups, over 200 games at Waterworks just in the 2025 season.
And there's not currently a Pony League size field that you guys can play on because
It was the high school field that was used for Pony League.
Yes,
And again, with it being turf, that field's gonna play too fast for. I really wouldn't want my youngest out there
correct. And for
first time
softball-
on a turf
Yeah.
field.
For softball, we were able to use the dirt field, the JV field, but they have a JV and a middle school team. So we may be able to get an hour or two on a Sunday when their 3 or 4 teams aren't using it. So in the meantime, we're cramming 350 kids on 3 fields, 7 days a week.
When it comes to upper league, like upper age groups that might wanna use our fields, what's the outfield dimensions, like Little League as well, so it's 200 feet. So is that an open field or is there a fence? What's the?
All 3 of the fields there are fenced. 2 of them are about 180, and then 1 is set up for like 12U baseball. That one's closer to 200. We were looking to go bigger on the new field. We have it all flagged out. We flagged it out last fall to be able to accommodate literally any of the age groups, and we were gonna get the different plugs so we can adjust the base and pitching.
I was just thinking for future use when it comes to maybe somebody wanting to set up a tournament for our area, like, just some of our own kids,
Yes.
all stars, stuff like that, you see a little all star team, but I was a big baseball when I was younger.
Yeah,
So it's just what the ability to expand the outfield and set the bases more appropriate for the different age groups are good.
well, 2 of the fields we would not be able to expand just because of the way that they're currently situated with parking lot and the little kind of lane. The one in the middle, I don't, the pavilion's there now, so. Of the
Probably not.
new one is the only one that we can make at the larger scale. But we do have already kind of earmarked out to purchase the different plugs for the different base lengths and the different pitching distances. And 2 of them, up until this summer, had mounds built on them, but because we're sharing with baseball and softball, we had to doze the mounds off, make them all flat and buy portable mounds for the baseball kids to use.
and who does the maintenance for these fields?
Our board. So we're there all the time.
But it's not village staff that's taking care of these, so it's not manpower being paid for by our hours for these fields.
Yeah, we do pay, Tim Davis mows inside of the fence for us.
But rec pays that.
Right, rec pays that out of our fundraise dollars.
Anybody else have questions?
This is a question from Councilman Yoho. Do we have a contractor, a drawing of the mock-up, and the cost of the project?
We do have a cost of the project. It's been submitted with all of the grant applications this far. Actually, Rachel helped me put that together, based on.
Rachel and I kind of came up with
Yeah.
all the prices to send you. And, yeah, so. We've got, we kind of have a new sheet where we're, instead of asking, because we applied for like the Montgomery Grant, Sharp Foundation, and we were denied those applications last year. So rather than asking somebody for large quantities, we broke it down, and instead of, $12,000 for the perimeter fencing and another $12,000 for the backstop, we broke them up into small chunks, asking businesses to sponsor smaller pieces so we could just put a sign up on the fence when it's done and list everybody that contributed to the different parts. And then we have a handful of people and businesses, one of which is a board member that is willing to come and help with all of the excavating, leveling. There's a lot of leveling that needs to be done.
Cause
When is our bed? So, anyhow.
your outfield's a whole.
So you won't hire a contractor, right? It's all volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll volunteer work.
Any other questions for Tabitha? We can bring you back up. So,
I'm here.
Dawn, would you like to talk? No. Rachel, would you like to talk?
I don't really have anything.
And nothing else to add? Okay. Christy, Emily, Jasmine? Nothing yet? Brittany?
Yeah, I'll be quick. For the three of you that are new on council, I used to sit in that chair right there. So, for 4 years, I was chair of the revitalization committee. So all of the ideas that are coming for this grant, the walking trails, the splash pad specifically, the soccer fields, the pickleball courts, the basketball courts, all of that came from my committee. So to see it come together has been thrilling for me, and for it to die because the technicality is tremendously disappointing. So I'm asking you to vote yes tonight, okay? This is to benefit the entire community, to give kids something to do when everybody's complaining all the time. There's nothing to do around here. Let's give them something. Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Come on down.
Hello, my name is Richard Miller. I'm not really anybody. I'm just a member of the community. I moved back here a couple years ago. I bought a house, and I love West Lafayette. I've been here for years, except for my couple years I did in the military. I've got a small son and he goes to Ridgewood Elementary, and I was super disheartened when I heard that, the vote didn't get passed. There's not a lot of things for kids to do in this community. I mean, I know they've said it and I'll say it, and a soccer field, I think that's fantastic. I mean, our son plays soccer, we play on that little dirt field right there beside the school between football practices when they can fit us in, and do not have to drive all the way to Lake Park to practice or, something crazy like that. And a splash pad, I know my kid would love it. I'm sure every kid in the community would love it. I mean, I know there were concerns about, kids that were roughhousing on the playground and stuff, and I would personally donate my own time to go over there and make sure kids are not destroying things. I mean, I want to be more active in the community, just like you. And anything I can do to help, but I plead with you guys also to vote yes, because I think our community really needs this, especially it just being, an opportunity for a grant. Let's argue about the money later. Let's get the grant submitted. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Sir?
I'm good.
Yeah, Frank.
What everybody said.
Mark that down.
It says ditto.
There's a reason, folks, that
Come on up. You're gonna talk.
there's a reason that the houses in this community sell by word of mouth. There's a reason why at the schools, we have 50, 60 kids a year trying to open enroll into our schools so they can enjoy our programs. I think it all fits together. And, to Joe's point, if it's about the kids and if it's about putting in for a grant now, let's worry about the details later. Let's get the money in our pocket and let's worry about these kids and finding them
place to get them off the street in the summertime. And let's not let silly technicalities get in the way. Thank you.
Frank, and if you think about it, the success our schools have had with the athletic programs, where does that all boil down to? State championship run came straight out of Waterworks Park.
Yep, I agree 100%.
This is a question from Councilman Yoho. I've heard that this project will not affect our property taxes, but will it in the future?
So currently we mow around the outside of the fields, and Tabitha just mentioned that Mr. Davis mows inside the fields. So that's the maintenance over there. We, in the past, have had to pay somebody to brush hog the field. Ridgewood FFA did it this year, correct?
Mhm.
And they baled the hay off of it.
Yeah, we'd have to pay them.
So taking this big field off of our mowing and putting it on Tabitha's, then that's going to decrease.
I mean,
We're gonna add a bathroom, but that's going to add to Ridgewood Rec for the maintenance. The splash pad is minimal maintenance as far as we're aware. Like, obviously, we don't have a huge experience with splash pads, but yes, if we can turn the water on and off. So if we are getting to the point where we're to the end of the funds, we shut it off. So
But as far as property taxes, I do not see this impacting property taxes
No,
in any way, shape, or form.
that would be for another discussion anyways, but not a vote.
Mr. Maple, you had something you wanted to say?
I
You
did,
said?
yes. Thank you. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight, showing your support. I want to first thank those who reached out to me personally about resolution 13-2026. My vote of no is not a reflection of not wanting the park to be funded or improved. I have constantly shared the fundraiser in support of it and have donated a tree in memory of my grandparents planted it. I want to see the park succeed. I spoke to former council members and a former mayor who agreed that suspending the rules and foregoing the 3 readings and declaring an emergency was not the right course of action to take. The emergency clause is supposed to be about the issues of urgent public safety, health, or financial issues and should be used cautiously. I hope my detractors understand. I ran on principles, and I would not be doing right by myself or the people who elected me by doing anything different than that. Using the emergency clause erroneously and liberally robs the public of having a chance to weigh in on the issues we discuss here, whether positive or negative. That being said, I've received a number of correspondence from concerned citizens over the past couple of days. I applaud them for making their voices heard as well as being civil in their discussion. But also that being said, I'm announcing that I will be voting yes on resolution 2026-13 tonight. Concerns about maintenance, terms and conditions, and other topics can be discussed at a later time. Thank you.
And Tyler, in response to your statement, the deadline to submit this application is tomorrow. How does that not constitute an emergency?
From my understanding from that discussion, it's not, but clearly there are a lot of people who want this. And as a person who ran on the platform for putting people first, I would like to stand on that principle.
Well, that is exactly what you guys were elected to do, was to put this community first, and that means putting our children first. So in my opinion, that states an emergency. You put your children first.
So even in what you stated, financially, grant is financial. Like, this is potential doubling money that we didn't raise, that Ridgewood Rec did. So finances.
So it's not just for paying bills then?
Correct.
Yes,
Amy is
correct.
It is definitely
Correct.
not for
Okay.
paying bills, but it is definitely financially, specifically beneficial,
Okay.
100%. And having this special meeting actually cost the village, where waiving the 3rd reading would not have. So it is actually exactly backwards for what would have been beneficial to the village.
The emergency clause is, like Jesse was saying, that's not saying emergency funds are going to be pulled to pay for that. That is saying we have to get this through so we can meet our deadlines for it. There's no funds going out. There was nothing written in it that had any funds in it. There shouldn't have been any question in my mind why this is not emergency. It's cut and dry.
I'd also like to ask why none of your concerns were brought up
Exactly.
in any of our council meetings.
Exactly. We have conversations every week about all this and no questions were ever raised. And that looks bad.
Speak for Jacob, but I will speak for myself. I think we're still getting our toes in the water on this, which I'm sure anybody who has done anything for the first time around can respect that, understand that.
I understand
At the
that.
last meeting, I specifically asked if you had any questions and you still said no.
I understand you guys are getting your feet wet. But this is the time you need to ask the questions. You're not gonna be seasoned. You're not gonna know everything. I've been sitting here for 2 years. I'm still learning stuff each time.
And we're not gonna bite your heads off for asking questions.
Exactly. But I am aggravated because no questions were asked. Yes, Jacob.
Just gotta say, I can only talk for so long.
You're fine, you're fine.
Hurt because I just had surgery. So hear me out. Why I voted no was Amy and Jessica can testify to this. A week prior, I called Amy and told her that I was gonna have surgery. And, well, I was gonna be late because I was filing the taxes. I got me mixed up. Sorry. I was gonna be late and I thought, you know, they might have discussed that without me and not filling me in while I was late because I was doing my taxes. And I missed a little bit of part of the committee meeting. So that's why you know, they might have discussed it before then. You know, they didn't fill me in. So that's the reason why the reason why I voted no was because of that. Because I wasn't filled in, which you guys, either you could have got up, you could have got up out of your chair, you could have got up. And that's one thing I learned in the training when I was up there in Columbus. We're supposed to work as a team.
You're correct.
And we're not working as a team right now.
And we discussed all of this at the meeting prior to this past Monday. We've discussed it for the past
One
few
of
meetings.
he's got the right to finish his hearing.
And, so that was one reason. And you know, I was thinking outside the box instead of inside the box, which, you know, most people think inside the box now, which that's your God-given right. But when I'm thinking outside the box, I draw like a food web. Everything eats on one another if you think about it. Where's the maintenance gonna come? You know, I never got them answers, which, yeah, maybe I should have asked, but, you know, they might have been already through that and we was running low on time that day and we're just behind. What's we not?
We had 2 meetings that we could have discussed though.
Yeah.
Either way, if you have those questions, even if we did, my apologies for cutting you off. And I also know that you're hurting because that is painful. Feel free to please ask those questions. Even if it's the 5 minutes in between and you see one of us. I don't know your questions without knowing.
I don't speak for Tyler, but sometimes, you know, you guys are over there goofing off and sometimes me and him don't even get a word in. Am I right? And then by the time the next meeting comes along, yeah.
This afternoon, you sent a list of questions, correct, Tyler?
Correct. They were always.
You could have done that 2 weeks ago.
And, you know, should I vote? What happened today as I was reading through the comments on some of Jessica Tubbs and me and him being threatened? If you guys think that's right, then yeah.
I don't think any of us think that's right.
Yeah, when we're threatened,
We're not here because of what the post said. We're here because of what the issue is. So don't think that we're out here threatening you or Tyler. It's not happening.
I don't necessarily think anybody was threatened. I didn't read any of the comments.
No, but several of us spoke out against those people. There's a better way to do it. That's why most of us are here.
And those people that are doing that are cowards because they will not come here and show their face.
yeah, they threatened my family, they threatened, you know, talking about my daughter. When you bring my kid involved, it turns into another level.
I agree with you 100% on that, Jacob. I do. But what I'm saying is they're on there, they're putting the threats out there. They're not going to show their face. But, you know, there's that threat. I understand that. But we've got your back. You know,
And that's what I call them, they're keyboard warriors, and, you know, and I also brought to my attention, you know, when I'm a nice guy, if you guys call me, I'm willing to put aside whatever I need to do to have that one-on-one conversation with you to figure out where you guys stand with any ordinance or anything.
Yeah.
I want to know where you guys stand, but if I don't know, how am I supposed to know?
Well, if people got questions, like I said, I think people should, and I'm.
Because no offense against you.
Point of order.
It's up to these council-
Point of order.
This
I-
this is
I-
getting out of hand.
Yeah, I do not want
Standpoint
to
that-
keep continuing with an argument.
That asked, I got something to say in regard to some of this stuff too. I've listened to everybody and I don't disagree with anybody. I disagree with how some of it's being portrayed. So I'm gonna just read my statement because I should wanted to do this beginning, but before we go forward with our vote tonight, I'd like to say something briefly. At least it's briefly to me. It's clear that people in this community care deeply about West Lafayette and this project. I also believe those who voted no also care, and a no vote does not, nor should it imply any less concern. Excuse me, caution is a good thing, and disagreement does not mean someone does not have concern about the village or its future. It's actually to the contrary, I believe. A few weeks ago, I mentioned that I never want this council, especially those of us who are new, to appear as though we are simply rubber stamping decisions that were already in motion before some of us took office. My expectation is that that the administration does not view council as obstructionist, whether it be any of us. I don't care how long we've been sitting here, for lack of a better term, for trying to be diligent and responsible. It is understood that they naturally spend when I say they, I'm referring to administrators, that they spend a great deal of time developing projects because they work inside village operations every day. Council responsibilities are different in that we work a couple of days a month in comparison. Our role was to review those proposals carefully and decide whether to approve them. Ultimately, council was the body that authorizes actions through our votes, and with that authority comes responsibility for those decisions. No other member of the village carries that voting accountability, including the mayor, who only has circumstantial tie-breaking vote. The administrator, who manages the day-to-day operations of the village and carry out policies the council and the mayor approve, and the fiscal officer, who is essentially the financial record keeper and compliance officer. And that's not to minimize anything they do, so don't take it in that regard. For these reasons especially, it is important that every member has the details regarding what we are voting on. Also, it's important to ensure that anything proposed before we or any new member understands what is coming down the pipe prior to being asked to vote on an emergency issue. Procedurally, the members voting no were correct in that they actually have a stronger procedural argument for the issue than people realize. The concern about the emergency clause in suspending the 3 readings isn't arbitrary. And this balance and ability to question is part of how good government works. For that, he or they should be applauded, not criticized for their stance, as hard as it may be for the public to swallow. I believe council members should be able to vote according to their understanding and their conscience without intimidation, piling on, or public pressure. I also believe it is important for each council member to take time to research and learn about something being brought to the table for a vote, which was and if I'm not mistaken for this matter, is the issue for this matter. If votes begin to change because of pressure, then decisions are no longer being made on judgment, but who can withstand the most criticism. My hope is that tonight we step back from the conflict that we've seen over the past day and focus on the issue itself. Everyone here ultimately wants the same thing, what we believe is the best for the village of West Lafayette. I personally voted yes. And I do take offense when I'm pointed out as one of 3 when it should be a council as a whole. And I'm not trying to point fingers at anybody. However, we're all here. We all listen to comments. So when anybody in this council votes that goes against anybody in here's way of thinking, somebody's going to get pissed. And the point is, if you don't like it, run for office and quit sitting back and bitching after the fact, which what most people do. They come to the table with complaints,
but never the guts to put themselves out there to make the decision. And that's my 2 cents on the matter.
Okay, anybody else have any conversation before we move on?
I just want to clear up the timeline. I didn't necessarily prepare a statement, but just kind of have notes here. 3 to 4 weeks ago, Omega, which is a group that we're part of, it's Ohio,
Mid-Eastern Government Association.
that's it, suggested that we apply for this grant. All the projects included in this have been ready to go as soon as funding is available from prior grant and funding attempts that we've made. Congressman Mark Heiner's office was contacted after we found out about it to ensure that we are indeed a good candidate for this grant. And we were informed that our project is definitely what they're looking for. So all good on that front. In pertaining to the first reading, the grant and ordinance were prepared and presented for discussion at the February 23rd committee meeting and then at the regular meeting later that night. We were informed at that time that it would be read twice, and then the emergency clause was to be used to suspend the rules and waive the third reading to make the deadline of March 12th at 6 p.m. The ordinance was declared an emergency, though, so that it will take effect immediately upon passage and waive the normal 30 days it takes for ordinances to take effect. Otherwise, the deadline would have still not been met, and no opposition was stated at this time. The 2 weeks between no opposition, questions were asked, stated. The second reading was at the March 9th committee meeting, which was Monday. Or the second reading came about on March 9th at the regular meeting. At the committee meeting was discussed, no opposition was expressed to applying for the grant or the emergency clause being used to make the submission deadline. At the regular meeting, the vote to use the emergency clause to waive the third reading was voted down 4-2, as at least 5 of 6 are needed to accept suspending the rules. And that's where we're at today.
I would like to add one thing that some of the people that I speak to in the community, when they hear grant money, part of them thinks it's free, but everyone knows it's taxpayer money. Here's the problem. Here's the thing for me. I'm paying that tax. It doesn't matter who gets it. I'm putting that money in it. Lakemore, up in Summit, Batavia, Freeport, any of them can get our money. So to me, an opportunity to get our money back in here to better our community. Honestly, I don't care if it's a grant for a pink flower pot outside. If that's what it takes to, start showing and building these relationships to where we get more opportunities and better grants and get better at writing the grants. Unfortunately, we do not have a grant writer on staff. You're looking at them, And so to me, we're paying into those taxes. I'd rather see the benefits of our taxes as opposed to just letting it slip to town.
And I
Someone's
think
gonna
because
get
that grant money has already been set aside. That's money we've already spent our taxes on.
Yep.
They're just giving it back to somebody. If they don't give it to us, they're going to give it to somebody down the road and we're
Yep.
still going to pay for it. It's just we're not going to benefit from it.
What ends up happening is we drive through Lakemore and say, man, I wish we could do something like that.
Where's Lakemore?
No, it's in Summit County. It's just a town that's the exact same size as us. That I did a lot of work
The
with.
same thing.
But that's the point is these are tiny little towns that nobody will ever see that our tax monies are going to as well. So why shouldn't the tax monies come back to us? Because
Yeah.
again, these guys don't know Batavia.
Mr. Yoho has the floor.
Councilman Yoho's question is, where do water funds go?
Water funds.
The water bill payments.
They go to the city of Coshocton. We don't have a water fund. We don't own the water system anymore. The city of Coshocton owns it.
I might not put that rate. Who's going to pay for the water bill? Is it going to be the village's water bill going up?
You took the waterworks to Beaufort.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
People's water bill will go up.
No,
The village will pay for it.
No, it's a bill.
It'll
It's a
be one of our
village.
expenses.
Yes, it'll be one of
You
these.
said yes, it started going through my mind. What is this?
No.
I
No.
didn't understand.
No, and there's been some talks to maybe see about a better rate on
Yeah.
that.
For the splash pad.
Yeah, from
Get a
the
bulk
city of
rate.
Coshocton, yeah, instead of the full amount or whatever, but no, this would, again, this does not affect anyone within the community.
And we are WL, well, we've started the fund, what, 2 years ago?
ago.
So we have 2 years worth of funding already in there.
And our WL is doing a fundraiser of Golf Scramble
Yeah.
to raise money for it. So there are groups planning ways to offset the cost.
And that's, you're talking about the splash pad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we're going for diamonds.
I know.
splash pad,
Yeah,
soccer.
kind of.
It's all the same project.
Yeah, same project, but
Yeah.
kind of different little buckets.
Gonna have to have water anywhere else, but yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
also
about,
put our buckets together.
Yeah,
For you to help
right.
a little more.
Because if everybody puts their buckets together, it is a better grant application, which scores us higher, which makes it, and the collaboration scores us higher. And the low income portion of our community, because we do qualify for LMI, that scores us higher. So if we work together, we score higher, or we can all split up into our little tiny corners and not work together and just run into a brick wall over and over again. So. All right.
So last question, sorry.
no, you're fine.
Since that's a one-way road down there, how's traffic going to work?
There are currently, how many ball games? 200 a year. So it's going to be similar. It's just going to be a rush of kids before each game and a rush of kids out, just like it's been for years.
And we, I mean, even for a month and a half almost before games even start, I mean, we're running practices 7 days a week based on what we speak.
Right.
And to your point, we probably should look at that. What can we do to improve that to make sure it's clear?
Tammy's actually
communication?
talked about widening the street and
Right.
looking into that.
Yeah, we discussed that, but we could also look in at better
Another way in.
signage. Make,
Yeah, better signage.
make it a poor man's roundabout. I know nobody likes that, but
You won't really go down there when you do that?
no, it wouldn't be an actual roundabout, but use the city blocks and maybe turn one into another one way to where we can get in and out.
Yeah.
Manage the flow of traffic safely through the neighborhood. I've been thinking about that for a while, but I hadn't looked at it to see what that would be like.
I just my wife,
Right.
lived here for years. And yeah, she brought that to my attention and I was like, well, if it's one-way road, that's going to get bad.
It's sketchy during ball season. It's it's a nice little bumper to bumper.
It is.
There.
It's busy, but I can say that I've been back since 2023 and I can't think of maybe 1 or 2 minor accidents. So people are usually pretty cautious.
Yeah, the only thing I've noticed and it may have changed since my boys played over there, was the signage going in and
The
out.
signage could be.
Yeah, we need to do a little bit of improvement with that.
All right, Joel wants to talk. Hey, just a second. Joel's got the floor now. We'll come back to you,
Go
Joe.
ahead, Joel.
Yeah, there were, as I've been listening here, there were just a couple things that I wanted to clarify, council's operations legally. So, anytime council members meet, it can't be done in secret. It's a public forum. With the exception being if you guys are, having an executive session. So, these are things that, whenever there is a meeting, there should be minutes of the meeting, that somebody should be able to review, as well as notice of the meetings ahead of times, and what will be discussed at those meetings. Any kind of conversations that council members have, outside of meetings would not be related to council business, just by their very nature. They can communicate with the public, communicating with each other and making decisions with each other is strictly forbidden under Ohio sunshine laws. And at least to my knowledge, this council has never done that or engaged in that. So I don't know who's attached to which voices, but I just wanted to make sure that the public is aware that these decisions are all made in the public sphere. So that's not criticism for anyone or anything like that, but I felt it important to just clarify that council is not meeting in secret about any of these things or failing to include them in any minutes.
Okay, anything else?
My heart's clear. Okay, thank you, Scott.
Joe?
No, I was just gonna mention the traffic flow. I live on George Street. My wife and I, we walk, when there's ball games down there. Everything runs smooth. It could be widened and everything, but it runs smooth. Like Morty said, there's really no incidents that go on down there.
Well, for my 2 cents into that, based on what Morgan said, also, I, over 20+ years, sheriff's office, I don't remember any accidents back there of any significance at all. And there's never been an incident that I can recall, Morgan, you correct me if I'm wrong, any issue with kids coming in from and to ball practices or games, other than maybe, an in-game issue where they might have to get somebody in or out, but that's never been an issue as well.
And I just got one other thing out of my food web, which, this is the way I work. I draw it out on a map inside my head. Another reason why I voted no, this is a big one for me, is, I'm not sure if you guys have seen any needles back there, my next thing would be, predators, seeing kids in bathing suits back there. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but, that was one of the reasons why I say no.
I mean, over the years, we have found.
But this is going to a splash pad, so there's gonna be kids in bathing suits back there. It's a different thing,
I mean, and
different animal.
we are the ball fields. We're kind of collaborating to help, all of the project. But I mean, over the years, we've got dugouts that face away from the road. So, we find lots of things.
Oh, yeah.
It happens. We do find stuff. We deal with it. But I mean, predators in the area, baby suits or not, predators are going to be predators.
I'm sure you have a good collection of people who keep an eye.
No,
So that-
we are over
All
there.
the time.
I mean, we're board members, we're officers, but we also all are parents. We also all have children that play. We also coach, run concessions. We are the ones over there cleaning the bathrooms. We are the ones over there dragging the fields and lining the fields and doing all of that. I mean, our group is there pretty much 7 days a week from March through October.
And there's no 100% guarantee you could ever prevent that, because even the people that have never been, that might be an issue have never been caught. So you're always going to have to deal with the reality that there's going to be some dipshit out there someplace that's going to be keeping one eye open in a wrong way. But the fortunate thing is when there's kids over there, there's parents there. We have a community that would rather put a foot up somebody's ass than let that happen, so.
All right, so switching gears just a little bit, we're gonna talk about .gov. Does anybody have any questions about the .gov portion? This doesn't really, you guys can.
Can I ask one other question before we switch over?
Sure.
My last question is, I got all my questions answered. I'll switch my answer to yes tonight.
Oh, we haven't voted yet. We'll have a roll call for that, but thank you. Does anybody have any questions about the .gov? So,
It's quite interesting.
yeah,
The federal requirement.
so the federal government is going to require municipalities to switch from .com to .gov to be more secure, to be better blocking against,
Yeah.
about all of the securities and such. So right now, there's a grant available for up to $9,500. Our IT guy does not feel it's going to cost that much, but it'll cost,
About $3,000,
yeah.
3 to 4 grand.
And in addition to that, if we don't apply for this grant, next year we'll be mandated to do it and we will be paying for it. So that's why this is on. Does anybody have any questions about that?
And this will be the 3rd reading for that.
It'll
We
be-
do have the emergency clause on that.
Which
The
means it's
deadline for the
effective
grant.
immediate.
Yep, the deadline for the grant application is
Right.
Friday, right? No, 13th. Oh, it is Friday, the
Friday.
13th, yes. That one's 13th.
Yeah. This one's the 12th. That one's the 13th.
Yes.
Friday, the 13th, right? Yeah.
All right, with no questions, we're gonna start the reading of the resolutions. First, the boring one. Resolution 2026-12, a resolution by the council of the village of West Lafayette, Coshocton County, Ohio, authorizing and directing the village mayor to submit a grant application with the Department of Homeland Security and state and local cybersecurity grant program for the round3.gov domain migration grant and declaring this an emergency.
Motion to adopt resolution 2026-12.
Second. Pick one.
Fisher,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Maple,
Yes.
Co,
Yes.
Yoho,
Councilman Yoho's answer is yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Resolution, perfect. Resolution 2026-13, a resolution by the council of the village of West Lafayette, Coshocton County, Ohio, authorizing and directing the village mayor to request funding for the Waterworks Park Improvement Project through the State Capital Budget Committee, Community Project Funding, and declaring this an emergency.
Motion to accept. Ordinance 2026-13.
Was that the third reading of that one?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the third
Okay.
reading.
Second. For some reason, I thought that you said.
Mauer,
Yes.
Maple,
Yes.
Co,
Yes.
Yoho,
Councilman Yoho's answer is yes.
Fisher,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
motion carries.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Christie's like, let's go.
Yoho,
Look, my bedtime, let's go.
Oh, we have
Yes.
Mauer,
Yes.
Maple,
Yes.
Co,
Yes.
Percy,
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
We are adjourned. Thank you.